One belief determines whether change becomes your dance partner or that unwanted, annoying house guest that keeps showing up uninvited. It was January. I was 26 years old, alone. Well, except for my dog, in the Delta Hotel in Winnipeg, fresh off a flight from Halifax. I just left my home, my family, my friends, my job to take a position in northern Manitoba. I remember sitting on the bed. I had one hand on the phone and the other hand on my dog's head as he rested it on my lap. I needed to call home, but I was a little scared because I knew my mother would cry and say, "Just come home, sweetie." And in that moment, I thought, I might. Instead, in that quiet moment, alone, scared, cold, and uncertain, change became my lifelong dance partner. I didn't know it then, but that day would set me on a course to develop an approach to change that shows people how to take change from a hurdle to be overcome to the way for growth, stability, balance, and calm in the midst of uncertainty. That approach, the Readiness Mindset. It flips the script on the belief that people resist change. Change becomes your dance partner and you the choreographer. Let's do a little test. Raise your hand if you can think of anybody at all, that you would describe as resistant to change. Yeah. The idea that people resist change has become embedded in our thinking. We talk about it as if it's a fact. It's not. Resistance, as most people and most leaders in particular describe it, is a myth. I started my career helping individuals embrace change, to create healthier lifestyles, make decisions that their future self would celebrate, and prevent disease. I then started working with organizations, and I saw them spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on changes that weren't sticking and creating burned out, cynical employees, often making things worse instead of better. The belief that people resist change is tricking leaders and individuals into seeing resistance where there is none and leading to all kinds of inappropriate actions that creates a toxic cycle of change. So, what does it look like when change becomes your dance partner? It looks like the frustrated healthcare manager who was re-energized when she stopped asking, how will we manage the resistance? And started asking, what is needed to prepare people for these changes? She discovered that a critical group in her organization's transformation were not resistant, but their perceived capability was too low. By learning and introducing 2 new steps, those individuals raised their perceived capability and became leaders in the organization's transformation. Letting go of the belief that people resist change isn't about surrendering control. It isn't about passively following. It's about tuning in. As a leader or a consultant, you're not out there in front expecting people to follow. You're aligning with the level of readiness of the people that will make those changes real. That's what one IT director discovered. Months after they'd implemented a new system in one department, the employees were still struggling. Change felt like a battle. When it came time to implement that same system in another department, we'd spent some time together. He paused, listened, aligned to the level of readiness of those employees, letting them take the lead. 2 days post go live of that system, those employees were like, we got this. And moreover, they were energized to take on other changes the organization needed to make. Since change became my dance partner on that cold day long ago, I have helped hundreds use this approach and learn to dance with change. And I have seen the profound effect that it can have on organizations and individuals, sometimes in just one conversation. He was a 50-plus-year-old engineer. He was scared and he was angry because his company was closing his division. And for the second time in 3 years, he would be unemployed. And he'd just come back from a 2-year leave of absence where he'd gone back to school. He thought, nobody is going to hire me. Through our conversation, he learned one dance step that took his stress level from a 9 to a 4. He reclaimed his narrative. Reframing his story, he found strengths and options that he couldn't see before. When I checked in with him a month later, he was happy. He'd found an even better job and was confident he could take on any of the changes that came his way. What would be possible if you, your clients, your organization had change as a dance partner instead of that annoying, unwanted house guest?